A month or so ago I did a few jars of sweet pickled peppers. Even though some of these are red, they're all several sweet varieties. I think the red ones and the orange ones in there are some of the pickles that are just called sweet pickle, which is a very small cucumber, right, a very small pepper that does change to a red color when it's ripe, but there's no heat, they're sweet. Well, I've just been out to the hoop house and harvested a collection of both sweet and hot, and I hope to now can 2 or 3 jars of a mixture of hot and sweet. These are the hot cherry peppers called, what are they called? Big Bomb. And I'm going to try some green ones. I don't think that belongs there. I think that belongs over here. I'm going to try some green ones and some red ones. But I have to show you this one. Isn't that strange? Half green and half red. Whoops. And then next to them, these are Pepper Joe's Long Red Cayenne. And I guess, as I said in one of my previous videos, so far for me they're long green cayenne, and our weather is getting colder and the days are getting shorter. I'm not so certain that I will ever see a red one this year, but I'll leave the rest of them out there to see what happens. And this is what's left of my sweet green bell peppers. They're much smaller than they were earlier in the year, and I'm assuming the frost would soon do damage to them, so I'm going to slice those up and put them in with the hot ones. And these are the Thai chilies, the bird's eye chili, or that other name if you've listened to some of my other videos. And also, none of those have ripened yet. They go a brilliant red, and then you can dry them and use them for seasoning for years to come, but that hasn't happened yet. This one here is the Black Pearl, Capsicum Annuum Black Pearl, and that's a very hot little pepper. These back in here sort of look like habaneros or Scotch bonnets, but they're not. These are the Latin American sweet pepper called ají dulce, and I think they're the prettiest little things I've ever seen. I'm going to pickle most of those. I think this one being the ripest, I will cut it open, and I'll pickle it probably, but I'll cut it open and save the seed because I definitely want to grow that pepper again next year. This is another sweet pepper. This is the Japanese shishito pepper that have started to ripen. So I'm going to pickle some of those ripe ones, and I definitely want to save some seeds there too. This is my mystery chili. It's a tree so big. I don't know what the variety is. It was seeds given to me several years ago, a lady in Alabama, and she didn't know the name. It's a pepper that her family had saved the seeds on for years because they liked it. So supposedly very hot. I'm going to try some of those in a meal here in a bit to determine how hot they actually are. I haven't eaten one yet, but I'm going to pickle some. And in with it I will add slices of my own garlic in each bottle. And I think I had a little dill left, so I'll put in some dill weed in each of the bottles. Well, I'll come back and show you what I do to pack these into the jars in a short time here, but first let's make the pickling brine. Well, the brine is a very simple thing. I've already put the ingredients in, but I can tell you what they are quite simply. 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, 3 cups of white vinegar. You could also use cider vinegar if you prefer. I just happen to have white, so that's what I'm using. To that I've added a few peppercorns and 2 or 3 small bay leaves. I will remove the bay leaves and the peppercorns. I won't put them in the bottle with the peppers. You heat this to the boiling point and then turn the heat down and let it simmer until you're ready to put it over your peppers in the jars. The sugar also is completely optional. I've used a cup, as I said. You could use less, or if you prefer, you don't have to use any. It will still pickle just as well. I think that's the sugar all dissolved. I'll wait for it to come to a boil, and then I will turn it down to a simmer for a while. I think that's a sampling of all the different peppers, just to give you an idea of how I'm going to process them. I think the Pepper Joe long green, long red cayenne, I'm going to use pint jars, so I don't think it will go very well in a pint jar. So cutting it in two and then lengthwise, not really separating it into two pieces, but that allows the brine to get in the pepper. Get in the pepper. You can't say pickled peppers, can you? Get in the pepper and properly pickle it. I'm going to do the same with some of the Thai chilies, to just split them lengthwise, and some of them I will do into little discs. Not removing the seeds from any of these, which means this is going to be quite hot, I imagine. And this is the black pearl chili pepper, very small, but in order for the brine to get inside, I'm going to sort of slice it down the middle. I won't separate them. These are the Big Balm cherry peppers, and they are a hot pepper. And I think what I'm going to do is cut them in half. I'll leave some of the green stem on. I like the looks of that, but that will allow the heat to get out and allow them to properly pickle. This is the ají dulce, the sweet Latin American pepper. I think they're so cute on their own, and I don't really want to cut them into pieces. Cut some of the stem off, but again, I like the looks of the stem, so I'll leave that on. And in a couple of places down the side, just made incisions so the brine will get inside of them. And this is the shishito, Japanese sweet pepper. I'll do the same with that, just slice it down the center. Leave the, oh, lots of seeds, good. I've got some more out in the garden that I will save seeds from later. This is the mystery chili. Same thing, just going to slice them down the middle. And the sweet bell peppers, they're far too large. Even they're small bell peppers, but they're far too large to pickle whole, so I will make them into rings, I guess. Remove the seeds and whatever, but that gives you the idea of what I have in mind. Well, that's the pickles. Here I go again. They're not pickles yet, are they? That's the peppers cut up, ready to be pickled. Some of the smaller green bell peppers, I decided not to slice them into rings. They were small enough. I cut them in half, and I did remove the seeds from those because they tend to be kind of bitter. I forget to mention every time I do another one of the clips to add to this video that I opened that bottle of sweet pickled peppers. They were done basically the same way this is being done, only no hot peppers. They were all sweet, and they are delicious, so I don't know. This I'm sure will have fire, but I hope they taste as good as the pure sweet ones did. Well, next we'll pack the hot jars, add the brine, and carry on from there. Well, I'll demonstrate with one jar. It's no need if you're watching me do all 3 or 4, whatever I get here, I guess. Into each jar in the bottom I'm going to put a bit of my fresh garlic, and at least 1, maybe 2 if they're small, I guess, heads of dill. This is a hot sterilized jar. I sterilize my jars in the oven, and this is just out of the oven. And then I will cram it full with the different kinds of peppers, and I mean cram it full. These things shrink quite a bit when they're being processed. Can't seem to find the look there. Oops. Now, even though I have that literally crammed full, when that comes out of the hot water bath, it will have shrunk down and they'll be floating. There doesn't seem to be anything I can do about it. And this is the brine. All I've done is I strained it into a different saucepan through a strainer to eliminate the peppercorns and the bay leaves. Add a hot lid, ring, finger tighten. That's kind of pretty. For years this kind of a pickle has been done without processing at all in a hot water bath or anything. Now the recommendation is to process them for 15 minutes in a boiling hot water bath. And since I plan to give some of these away, that's what I'm going to do. But you can decide for yourself whether or not you want to. Normally with anything with this high in acid content, it hasn't been necessary. And vinegar, of course, is anywhere from 5 to 7% acid. So anyway, I intend to process them, and I'll come back and show you in the processor shortly. Well, I had enough brine to do 4 500 milliliter pint bottles. That's them in the hot water bath. Same canner that I use for pressure canning, but I'm not going to do this under pressure. 15 minutes in a hot water bath at a rolling boil. So once it comes to a boil, I'll time it for 15 minutes and remove them and show you the finished product here. Shrunk, I'm sure. They always do shrink up in the bottle. Anyway, I have enough peppers left over to probably do at least 2 more bottles. So I may mix up a little more brine later on and do another bottle or 2 of them. Shame to let them go to waste. Thank you for watching. In just a moment I'll show you the finished product. Well, there's the 4 jars out of the hot water bath. I'm still waiting for them to click and seal. I haven't heard that happen yet. And I've decided not to make an additional bottle or 2 with the leftovers. I've put them in a baggie in the refrigerator. I want to make hot pepper relish yet, so I will add those to the hot pepper relish in a day or so. And I tried one of the mystery peppers. I diced it up and put it in tuna mayonnaise for a sandwich for lunch. Lots of heat there, so these should be quite spicy peppers. Thank you very much for watching.